Hey guys, Season 2, Week 3, GBA, Num Nexus, Cleveland Escavaliers versus my Leafeons. Let's go. I'm currently 1-1 with an even differential. He's currently 0-2. I'm not sure what his differential is, but I'm pretty sure it's close to 0 because although he has 2 losses, they were both very close and against very tough opponents. So he's certainly not going to be a walk in the park for me. Even though I do have a significant team advantage, I think the only real threatening thing he has against me is like Mienshao, but he plays a hell of a game, and let's dive in. My leadoff was not the best, absolutely not. He totally outplays me in the opening portion here. So first turn, obviously, I'm tempted to go for sub, and I'm really glad I didn't, because at the time I wasn't even thinking about Infiltrator, which that Crobat was probably packing, and it probably would have killed me with a Brave Bird if I had set up a sub. Fortunately, neither of those things happened. I switched to Quagsire as he U-turns, and he U-turns out into Moltres. Because he switches out into Moltres, I'm assuming he's a grass move, and at this point, I'm thinking, you know, because I have a significant team advantage, he's probably going to be running some wonky shit. So I'm really afraid of like a Power Herb Solar Beam coming into play, so I'm really afraid to go to Manaphy, even though Amoonguss was a bit obvious there. He gets a crit flamethrower, and oh my god, I was really scared because I thought I'd be able to live like fairly convincingly, but I did manage to live on 3 hit points, lived the crit, and I managed to switch back out into Quagsire, and that Amoonguss is absolutely salvageable at this point because Regenerator is one of the best abilities in the game. So he U-turned against my Quagsire, which was an Amoonguss until I switched it, and he goes into Gardevoir this time against Quagsire, and I know that that thing can one-shot me, and Quagsire is going to be very instrumental in assuring my victory, so I have to save it. I go out into Amoonguss because Amoonguss can take fairy moves, which is what I'm expecting, and I'm absolutely expecting this Mega Gardevoir to have HP Fire because that will beat Scizor if Scizor wants to come into it. So I'm really afraid of that happening. His Moonblast, or whatever that was, did about 50 points, I think. It took me from 89 to 39, and Black Sludge puts me back up to 52, so I'm fairly confident staying in. However, I know he has Psychic Stab, so I want to switch out. I go to Scizor, and he predicts that switch very nicely by going out into Moltres. And during the game, this did not tip me off, but in watching the game over and over again, trying to rethink about it, that should have been a tip-off that his Gardevoir does not have HP Fire, since he was so worried about predicting Scizor would come in so he could go to a Fire type. That did not occur to me during the game, but it does now, and hindsight is always 20/20. So this time, I'm not going to be stupid. I know he probably doesn't have Power Herb Solar Beam. He's probably got HP Grass, which is more common. I know at least it's not Scarfed anyway, so Manaphy's safe to go in to stay in for a Surf after it eats up Flamethrower, and I do about 25 to 33% to this Escavalier. So I do a quick calc, and I find out that that means it's probably Assault Vest, which is 6th gen standard, which I guess it's a moveset. I don't really know. And here I was expecting Iron Head, I was expecting Mega Horn, I was expecting a ground move, be it Bulldoze or Drill Run or whatever. I was not expecting Knockoff, however, that doesn't mean I'm upset about it, as Mega Scizor cannot get knocked off, and that's going to allow me to Mega Evolve and get a knockoff of my own. He decides to switch out into Moltres, and I'm going to knock it off its leftovers, which tells me definitely that it has HP Grass. So this thing is a problem. Before the game, I wasn't really considering Moltres as a big threat because I did bring my Rain Core. I brought Tornadus, Manaphy, and Kingdra, so I thought, Rain will probably be up half the game, but I just never really got a chance to do it. Anyway, he goes for an Air Slash against Manaphy, which is a very smart prediction because, it was in against Scizor, and I'm just going to go for a quick Surf. Manaphy's base 100, max speed timid, and Moltres is base 90, so I'm faster if it's not Scarfed and it's actually knocked off, no matter what it was. So that's a free kill for Manaphy. I think that's the first kill it's gotten, which I guess while it hasn't been getting kills, it's still been being helpful in previous games, so that's kind of why it's still in here. Anyway, Mega Gardevoir comes in, not going to be killing that with the Surf, so I'm going to switch out into Amoonguss. It takes a T-Bolt, which I wasn't really expecting to see, but I guess it makes sense. I've got a lot of water dudes, even though one of them is water ground, one of them is water dragon. It still would have done a lot to Manaphy, probably not as much as a Moonblast. Well, never mind, probably a bit more. And I knew Psychic Stab was coming, but I was still, at this point, afraid of him having HP Fire. So Scizor, in my mind, wasn't an option. And nothing really wanted to take a Fairy move, nothing wanted to take a Psychic move, so I kind of just had to lose Amoonguss, even though it would have been very, very helpful moving forward. So, he's afraid of Bullet Punch, obviously. I wanted to Swords Dance really, really badly, and if I did, I probably would have been tempted to stay in here and try and get the KO, and I think I would have actually done it. But after Black Sludge, I don't think Scizor has the power to take it down. I think I had like a 5% chance to or something, and that's not good enough odds for me. So, and Scizor needs to be a bit better health if it wants to be able to take a Mienshao high jump kick. So, Quagsire is the best option, and I have to recover. It takes a Brave Bird not quite as well as I thought it would, and I want to keep this guy at least 75% in case it has to take a knockoff from Bisharp. And, you know, I just don't really have a great move to hit Crobat with anyway. Like, I could Rock Tomb it, I could Scald it, sure, but that's relying on a burn, and I mean, I'd be at too low of hit points if I went straight for the kill. So I recovered once, and I'm expecting him to switch this turn. I'm trying to start to turn the prediction game around. He really tossed me around. I think I switched for the first 6 turns, which if you're just constantly switching, then, I mean, you're not throwing out attacks, so you're not going to win the game. So he totally beat me in the first part of the game, but I'm trying to spin it around and get something going. Unfortunately, I went for Rock Tomb, which is not the greatest option. I love the speed drop utility, but it's just never really come in handy, and I might have to switch it out for like Toxic or something. Anyway, Scizor is now my only option, so if he has a Fire move, this is the turn to go for it, and if he has it at this point, I'm willing to just concede the game to him and call it a day. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, I guess he goes for T-Bolt, so that tells me that's probably his best move to hit. Well, I guess it would have hit Tornadus, it would have hit Manaphy, and it hits Scizor for neutral, so I guess it's his best move to go for, but that tells me it probably doesn't have Fire. I'm going to fire off a Bullet Punch. Bullet Punch will kill Mega Gardevoir. It will kill Crobat for sure. And in comes Mienshao. This is the thing I was most scared about pre-game. And here it is in my face. I know it's probably going to be Life Orb or it's probably going to be Scarfed. And once I find out what it is, I'll be able to deal with it. It's just a matter of figuring out which one it is. Unfortunately, I see Fake Out, which means it's very, very unlikely that it's Scarfed. And I don't see Life Orb. So I have no idea what that item is. I'm not used to what 6th Gen Mienshao does, and I'm sitting here totally scared, like, am I going to have to eat a Stone Edge with this guy? I figured I am faster, but 70% accurate Hurricane wasn't good enough to go for, so I went for my Rain. He wound up switching, which worked out fantastic, and my Tornadus actually runs a min special defense nature instead of min defense, so my defenses are even. I think at level 100 they're 176. And that came in very, very, very handy, as it allowed me to secure the KO against Escavalier. I think if I was min defense, that definitely would have killed me. Anyway, at this point, I really, really thought Kingdra had the game won. I can come in, kill Mienshao in one shot, or whatever wants to come in and take the hit for it. However, he winds up being sashed, and then he winds up landing a crit high jump kick after I get a crit waterfall, but not a flinch. That didn't really screw me over at all, because I think Mienshao's high jump kick does a min of 96 anyway, so I had a chance to live, but it wasn't very good. But still, it was kind of annoying that he was sashed, but that's just him making good sets, I guess. So here he makes a very, very interesting move, I guess. He goes out into Gardevoir and sacks it to a Bullet Punch. I'm not really sure what his thought process was. I'm not sure why he valued 20% on his Bisharp as much as he did, because if his Gardevoir was still around, I mean, say he goes to a Bisharp, Bisharp takes 20% from Bullet Punch, I still switch to Manaphy, and Manaphy still gets knocked off, and Manaphy still dies. Then I go into Quagsire, and Quagsire is just going to Earthquake no matter what. Like, it's going to kill Mienshao, it's going to kill Bisharp if it's 20% less. But it doesn't kill Gardevoir. If he had Gardevoir still, he could have switched back into Gardevoir, and then, like, killed... I don't know. It would have been an interesting, I think a more interesting finish had he not sacked his Gardevoir there, but maybe he was predicting something, I'm not really sure. I didn't really talk to him about it. Anyway, I had to sack Manaphy because obviously Quagsire is going to take way too much from knockoff, and at this point, I'm just hoping for a bullet punch to win the game, a bullet punch sweep, which I think I'm going to get, because after Bisharp kills itself with Life Orb, all he's got left is Mienshao, and all I've got left is Mega Scizor. So I've got priority. He doesn't. Well, he does, but it's not good priority, and it's resisted. So that's going to be the game, and that was a hell of a game, for considering that I was a heavy favorite among other people in the GBA. And even I think I had a really distinct team advantage. I mean, you know, that wound up being way closer than it should have been, I think, and I'm definitely going to have to reevaluate how I'm going to approach things moving forward. But great game, Nexus, a ton of fun to play, and I just want to say, you probably noticed the video quality was a lot better, and a humongous thank you to the person who's doing that for me. He knows who he is. He didn't really want me to mention who he was so that people wouldn't bother him, which I think is totally cool. But, you know, I just want to mention that it's very much appreciated. So, thank you. I guess in brief summary, I totally got outplayed, especially in the early game. But I managed to turn it around a little bit and maybe got a little bit of help from maybe a misplay. But, you know, I walk away with a victory that I really needed. And I'll see you guys for next week, I guess, maybe. We'll see.